What's your perspective been on two consecutive Scholar Athlete of the Year awards for Will King, and how have you seen him balance the workload with the golf?
Yeah, that's impressive. Not easy for certain. I think when we were recruiting him, he wanted to be a pre-med major, and I thought, boy, there's no way that can happen. You can't do that. And I've had guys come in want to be an engineering major, and after the first semester, they're in business or whatever that is. So, you know, I didn't try to talk him out of it, but I certainly tried to show him what it would take, and he didn't flinch. I mean, he's done everything. 4.0, played at a high level. We've kind of adjusted reps and done that stuff, given him extra days off because of tests. Sometimes early in his career, it seemed like every third week he had 4 tests, something like that. So, but he's done great, and plus being injured a lot, rehabbing his back, so it's been a full load for him.
He said he thinks this team may be better than any he's been on, has a chance to make some real noise this postseason. Why do you think he said it, and do you agree?
I think we have some experience. We certainly have more depth than we've had in a while. Um, and with that combination, we have probably 5 guys that can go low. And that's with the experience that we have, with the 2 seniors and then the new guys coming in. They're pretty good. So, we'll see what happens.
Baker said he shot 67 on this course at 13 years old, so does that sound like as much of an advantage as it could be in terms of helping your guys understand where you're going to play?
Yeah, I think so. Will's quite familiar with the course. Um, he's one of those guys that he's like training a racehorse. You get him going, and he can go low. He has that ability. And I think my biggest concern with Will Baker this week is don't try too hard, because there's some schools down there that passed on him, and so if we can get him going early, the kid he goes on confidence.
He talked a little about it, but when you're looking to bring in a guy in like that, I mean, how much of your success do you talk about? It's 10 in a row now. I mean, do you mention that to guys in the portal, or guys you're trying to bring in? I mean, or is that just let them figure it out when they get here? Or how do you address that?
Sure. A lot of guys do some research. When they start reaching out to coaches, they know exactly where we've been or where we're at that particular year. But Will Baker was about an opportunity. He thought he deserved one where he was at Clemson and didn't really get it for whatever reason. But what we always say in the transfer portal, one man's trash is another man's treasure, and he's been a good one.
And then just the last thing about this streak, is there anything that you can point to that is sort of the most consistent reason that you've been able to keep it going, and it's obviously alive and well now?
Honestly, I think it all started with Chase Hanna. He set the standard, and everybody kind of bought into that standard. As a coach, you talk about the standard and what we do and how we do things, but until they buy in and really accept that, because we're kind of a blue collar, we travel all the time. We don't have a home tournament, so we're always on the road. We're always playing at a disadvantage on somebody's home course, which home court or home course advantage is a big deal. But we embrace that as another opportunity to get better and learn more and do all that stuff. So, another tournament on the road doesn't really affect us. But I really think it was Chase and then the younger guys bought into that, the Andy Spencers, the Hillier brothers, Dan Hudson, the list goes on and on, Gunnar Broing.
Yeah. Is Chase a name guys know on this
Yeah,
team?
yeah, they do.
Cool.
They do.
You mentioned the portal. It seems like you've made pretty successful use of it recently with 3 transfers contributing pretty heavily. I guess, how would you describe your approach to the portal, and why do you think some of those acquisitions have paid off in the way they have?
I think we find the right guys. You know, Luke Honor was at South Dakota State, he wanted to play at a higher level. Artez Graywall was at UC Riverside, wanted to play at a higher level. Those guys had proved at the college level they could play, and now with playing at a better schedule, you know, exposed to different courses, whatnot, they've proved that they can. But it's important to find the right fit. Will Baker hadn't played a lot, but obviously very, very good at a young age and really proved himself there. You know, he's unique. He plays with a 10-finger baseball grip and kind of has this funky grip on his putter, but he can play.
And then I think you made a comment after last year's regional, kind of that you thought you didn't prepare well enough, or that you weren't prepared for that regional. What did you kind of learn from that you'll take into this year's postseason?
Looking back on that, I think what happened is we got beat down pretty good at Tulsa, at Southern Hills, and I think the guys kind of were on their heels a little bit, and then we travel out to Washington on Poana greens, which we very seldom see, and got off to a slow start and just kind of snowballed from there. But you know, experience is a great thing to have in your back pocket, and Will King's played now in 4 of them, and Luke Connor's played in 1 and now 2. So I think that's going to help, and hopefully the other 3 guys, you know, don't get caught up in the moment and just go play golf.
With the PGA Championship this weekend, can you talk about what it means to have Ryan and Gary playing at that level and kind of what they've meant to this program?
Yeah, it's great for both of them. You know, Gary obviously has really had a great year, and then Ryan as a club pro, you know, he's excited to go up there, and he's played at a high level as a club pro. But you know, it's free advertising for the University of Kansas, and you know, young people viewing that can see that yeah, you can go play in majors if you play golf at the University of Kansas, and it's great for us and it's great for them.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.